Onto our other top story now. The Economic Freedom Fighters has opened a case against businessman Adam Catzavelos. The man posted a video of himself on a Greek island using the K word. Several local Nike outlets were closed today following the public outcry over Catzavelos' racist remarks. Catzavelos is believed to be married to a woman who's a merchandising director at Nike. The man posted a video of himself on a Greek island using the K word. For discussion, we're joined by Professor Melissa Steyn from the Vet Center for Diversity Studies, as well as South African Human Rights Commission's Commissioner Jonas Sibanyoni. Good evening to both of you, and thank you very much for your time. Just to kick off, just what went through your mind as you saw that video clip, Melissa?
Boya, I think the question is, and I think all South Africans are entitled to be asking this question, how is it possible that somebody can be so totally unpotty trained for living in the 21st century? You know, I mean, there's the whole question around the social space that we are trying to build together as South Africa, and for someone to foul up our space like this and create greater racial tension, there's sort of like the hostilities that are in the society and diminish trust amongst our people is just totally unacceptable.
Can I ask you, Prof, to also attempt to answer that question that you've posed?
How is it possible that? Well, you know, I mean, people are saying things like, you know, if he felt confident to send this message onto a WhatsApp group, he must have known that there's a reception, that he was anticipating, that there is a kind of a collusion that he was expecting that people would be receptive. People are also asking about the family, you know, that the family has made the statement about his business, the family business, but did they really not know that this is a person who holds these attitudes? And was this not an attitude that had a resonance within the family and that it was okay? And so I think, yes, the question is really, what are white South Africans doing to ensure that we ourselves become conscientized around these issues and that we are isolating people who hold those kinds of attitudes?
Your initial thoughts, Mr. Sibanyoni?
It is really shocking, and it is very, very bad. And as the Human Rights Commission, we want to educate people to say, even if you do such a thing outside the borders of South Africa, he did this in Greek, but social media permeates through the borders. What he did in Greece is as good as he did here in South Africa. As the Human Rights Commission, we have a mandate as an institution supporting constitutional democracy to say such things should never take place. And we are expecting that the judiciary will really dispense justice without fear, favor, prejudice, and bias, because there has been some incidents similar to this one. And those people who were brought before the courts through our Enabling Act, the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Discrimination Act, briefly called the Pepuda Act. But people seem not to be learning the lesson about what the message has been sent through the length and breadth of our country.
Correctly, there has been this huge outcry, and the case has been opened. So hopefully, the mills of our justice system, which sometimes tend to grind rather slowly, will move swiftly this time. But I want Mr. Sibanyoni to then take you to what Prof raised about conscientization. Are we doing enough to conscientize, our people around the racism scourge and what to avoid and things to do and things not to do?
You know, as the South African Human Rights Commission, in terms of Section 183, Section 183, subsection 2, we've got the power to educate. We do educate people through our outreach projects, workshops and clinics. We go and talk to, more especially to the young people at schools and the like. And that is by the way of educating people to say, what does the law say? What is not acceptable? And then also remember the Vicky Momberg matter. The South Gauteng High Court, apart from saying she should pay an amount, it also said that the Human Rights Commission should avail itself for her to undergo certain lessons. Yes, I think we need to do more, and then people should avail themselves to be educated.
Prof, do you think that what Mrs. Banyoni just mentioned, the Vicky Momberg case and what happened to her, the consequences, adding to that, for example, what we saw happening today where companies like Nike, Nedbank, 702 then started also, seeing that this was in some way or the other affecting them, that those things will help conscientize people even more, that there are consequences to these things?
I think it will. I think it's very important. It's part of what I meant when I also said about isolating people. I think you have to understand that if you don't educate yourself to understand why this is unacceptable, there are domino effects. And Vuyo, I mean, obviously the business side of it is very important, that it's going to actually feel the pinch on the business side. But one also feels that people need to understand that it's not just, quite frankly, if I can just be quite, sort of frank, it's quite stupid, But over and above that, it's also selfish. And obviously we're talking about the broader social implications in terms of racial relationships and things like that. But also, I mean, I asked myself, what about that man's children going to school? Can you imagine the shame that they will experience with the whole country talking about their father and knowing that a case has been laid against him? I mean, I think that there are real consequences immediate for the person, for the family, but also for the broader society. And we've got to start getting a grip on this. But my big point, and if you'll indulge me, I'm going to say it again, is that we are seeing Black South Africans generally mobilizing and taking action. But really and truly, the most effective thing that can happen is if white South Africans speak out and say, not in our name. Because all of this makes it more difficult for other white South Africans to also develop some sort of a good relationship and a trusting relationship and to move forward with our compatriots. And we don't want that. Many of us don't want that, and it's not something that we should just let pass. So Black South Africans need to hear white South Africans' voices speaking out against this.
Now, Mrs. Banyoni, I mean, there was a Vicky Momberg yesterday, there's an Adam Catzavelos today, there may be another person tomorrow, well, God forbid. But what now, I mean, the fact of the matter is that whatever, the name calling may just continue, and that's the point I'm making. And, but the structural inequalities, in our country remain. And those are at the, center or at the root of it all, aren't they? Because for as long as people who have, gained a lot through privilege, more than anything else, continue to harbor these attitudes. And on the other hand, you have people who feel that they are not making any progress, in life because of our history. These things are going to continue. And until we address those, we're not going to win this war either.
Absolutely. Well, when you talk about inequality, at the dawn of our democracy in 1994, we had mechanisms like, for example, also the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act number 108 of 1996, which specifically talks about equality, saying everyone is equal before the law and is entitled to the equal protection and benefit of the law. And specifically, subsection 3 of section 9 says, the state may not discriminate, and then it names the grounds, and one of those grounds is on the ground of race. And also, because this constitution is vertical and horizontal, even individual people should not discriminate. I want to pick up on a point that a professor has made to say, when a person sits down and make a video clip on it, obviously, surely the person wants to carry out that message, to spread that message. It's similar to that case of the coffin assault case, when they were trying to force a person into a coffin, and at the same time taking a video clip out of it. You see, now I should think the wheels of justice should roll, as you are saying.
Quick last word, Prof.
No, I think we've said the most important things that need to be said.
Okay, so we're going to leave it. Thank you very much to both of you for coming through. Professor Melissa Steyn from Vet Center of Diversity Studies and the South African Human Rights Commission's Commissioner Jonas Sibanyoni.